This is day 2 of reading article. The new green revolution, a beggar rich blow, a shape of rice that could transform the developing world, said Asharam Pulse farm in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh in the summer of 2008. Mr. Paul had planted rice on his small plot, not much bigger than a football field. Floods are an ever-present threat in the state, making it one of the poorest places in the world. And the year the monsoon was particularly heavy. Remember Bob Chandler, director of International Rice Research Institutes, Mr. Falls fields flooded for 2 weeks after he planted the rice seedlings. A few weeks later, they were integrated again. He thought his crop was lost. He never, his neighbor advised him to do what they'll have always done when the flood come: prepare for hunger. But this time, Mr. Paul had planted an experimental seed development by scientists from IRRA in the Philippines. The seed has genetically squared bend into it, which puts it into a short suspended animation when some braided. Interested of growing, Mr. Plant raised sharping back when the water reached. In a normal year, he gets a ton or so for his 1 hectare plot. In a bad year, nothing. In that terrible flooded season, he harvests 4.5 tons, as good as yield as on any rain-flooded paddy in the world. Flood-resistant rice is now sprinting as fast as the water themselves. 5 years after the first field trials, farmers across the world are planting more than a dozen varieties of rice which flood resistant genus. Cultivatedly called sub-1, they are proliferating even faster than new rice varieties during the heady early days of the first green revolution in 1916s. And sub-1 is the first of the new generation of seed, says Mr. Jangler. If all goes well, over the next few years, plants that tolerate drought, saliently the extreme heat, will revolutionize the cultivation of mankind most important source of calories. But that was dropped by the technology working as promised, and in particular on public politics that support a second green revolution, neither incarnate. The first green revolution helped save the developing world from disaster. Two plant breeders, Numan Bore with what and Mr. With rice, persuaded government in Asia and elsewhere to encourage the planting of higher yielding varieties, especially of rice. 3.5 billion people, half of mankind, get 50 of their calories or more or the stuff. When the men started work in the early 1916s, China was suffering the famine of great leap forward, and India was widely thought to be on the brink of starvation. Today in Asia, famines are things of the past. One reason is that spread of diplomacy, another is green revolution, which has encouraged that there are plenty of rice. India even export it, and demand seems to be shrinking. The richest Asian countries, Japan, Taiwan, and South Korea, are eating less rice. It has led government which has supported green revolution to think that a new one would be unnecessary. As the reason in in a problem that has been solved, better to improve the diets that are causing obesity or change the intensive farming practices that are demanding in the environment. But it is not clear that the mission has been accomplished. In Asia as a whole, consumption per person is flat, is not falling. The population is still growing, so demand for rice is rising on the continents where 9% of crops is raised. In Africa, where the third of population depends on rice, demand is rising by almost 20% a year. At that rate, rice will suspense makes after Africa main source of calories within 20 years. Seed of stagnation as a result of Trump. If world pollution grow by 1 billion and extra 100 million tons of rice could to feed them. Given current world population foster and total rice consumption now under 400 meters ton, it likely to grow to 500 meter ton year by 2022. That would be manageable if rice yield were also growing at rate. But they are not. They are rising at barely half that pace. The first green revolution almost doubled yet from 1.6 tons a hectare in 1950. Even that was the only enough to keep pace with population growth. Yield and population rose at the same rate in the half century after the Green Revolution started. Now the gains seems to have lifted off. Plant-based fare that with current technology 10 tons hectares for rice intensive farming system may be the limited, though it is not clear why. What is clear that is that out in the fields output per hectare is trailing and some places failing. For 25 years, RRI has been planted a field using its best seed. The field itself has remained much the same. The bugs and microbes that live in the roots and rice plant mean the soil fertility is maintained even if three crops are growing each year. But output from plot 9 of 10 tons as pest and disease have taken the rule. Rice yield were rising 2.5% a year between 1962 and 1982, but between 1992 and growth fell to just